Hello, everybody. Hello, World Wide Web. Welcome to the Hangin With Web Show radio hour. That's right. We are recording our weekly radio hour for Krypton Radio.
We are indeed.
And we thought we would do it live. Why? Because we could.
That's right.
That's
Why
the only
not?
reason. That is the only reason that we're going to do this live with you. Dina, if we could see the chat, that would be really, really nice. How's that? Just in case anybody shows up. Nobody, you don't have to. Again, we're just kind of tonight. We're talking about life. We're going to talk.
We are going to.
That's what we're going to do, guys. We're just going to talk about life and what people are doing, and it's been a long couple of months. It's
we've been kind of stuck in
place. And I know
as it were.
Our Krypton Radio audience knows that the bulk of the show, the Hangin With Web Show, is the interviews and interactions with fans and cosplayers and artists and authors and filmmakers and actors.
All of the creators.
That's what we do. And to do that,
minds of all kinds.
Kind of our mission statement when we started out was not to have them have to come here to us, and to try not to do things remotely as much as possible. Not to put ourselves in the hands of live technology and all of that as much as possible, to bring them to us.
Yes.
But the last several months have created a challenge because there's no place else to go.
This is true.
You have to do it either on the web or they have to come here because there's no place else to go. Businesses are shut. We're shut down for a long time. They are now reopening.
Yes, and we still have to be careful because our community is such a large community, our pop culture, geeky, nerdy community.
Oh, yeah.
And so they're still restricting how many of us can all gaggle together in one spot.
Yeah, and the reality is that we go to conventions and conferences. That's where we get most of our content. So,
yes.
It's been a challenge. We've been able to do some great things. We were able to do CyberCon.
That was
a 56-hour live broadcast, all things geeky. That was fun and exhausting. We were able to do Cyber Concert.
That was fun.
That was neat. We got together with our great friends over at Kitchen Killers, and we brought you 8 hours, 13 different musicians streaming live all day. That was great.
That was awesome fun.
And, for the radio show, we've had content that we've been storing up, that we've been stocking up. We've had interview content and things like that for the radio show that we could push out. Some of our other, now, for those of you that know, the Hangin With Web Show is proudly a part of the HWWS Media Group. And we are distributed on YouTube as well as Facebook and Twitter and everywhere else as a part of the HWWS Web TV network.
Indeed.
And so we haven't been missing content because although we have not been, doing the interview thing because we haven't been on site anywhere, we did an 8-hour media day where we did interviews with authors and artists and people who came into the virtual studio here.
Well, and we also did a takeover day of our page, which was a lot of fun.
We did a whole 8-hour plus takeover day where some of our authors and some of our featured artists actually went ahead and signed up, and they did half-hour blocks on our page,
and we just
all
let them
day long.
Take over.
That's right, they took over the page. So we've had content for, and our other content producers who produce from studio or at home have been producing content like crazy.
It's been
amazing.
Well, when you're trapped at home, that's what you do. Your brain just starts working. You're like, now what can
Mark
I do?
B. Lee at NBL Entertainment has been producing Saturday morning cartoons every morning. Him and the crew get together, talk about cartoons. Although Kevin and Mia have finished their first season, their season 1 is complete, 52 episodes.
How exciting is that?
They're taking a little bit of time off before they kick into season 2. But they were putting out content right through all of this stuff.
That's exactly right.
We have the Orlando Wizard, who's going to join us here on the radio hour here in a few minutes. He's been putting out content as much as he had stored up in the bank, and we'll talk to him a little bit about what he's got out there right now, as well as they were putting out content for 2 Men and a Droid, which is Robert's other show that he does. And so they've been bringing in content for there. Thomas Carter Rochester started some comedy content for us.
Before.
That's right. And just today, as a matter of fact,
speaking of comedy,
the Hennessy Williams experience. Hennessy Williams has a comedy group that is today they released the first one on the HWWS Web TV channel. Hello, Jackie Sonnenberg and Alfred Pennyworth, and hello, Kyle Nunez, and hello, Matt MacGyver, and hello to all that are in the chat room. Thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Thanks for joining us.
And so those guys have been putting out comedy content. The Noob, Nerds United in Brevard, has had a backlog of interview content from around convention seasons past.
That's exactly right. They've been talking with some of our creators also stuck at home.
They've been doing some great interview content there. So HWWS Web TV, we've been putting out content.
We certainly have.
And then and we've got more content coming, more great content coming. We're very proud that we just added to the HWWS Web TV team. We just added Reels and Heels, Brian and Nicole. And Brian and Nicole were bringing you movie and television
and wrestling and all the news of the pop culture community. Yes.
They're going to be bringing that to you guys weekly, I believe, on HWWS Web TV.
Every Wednesday at 3:00.
All right. That'd be great.
That's exactly right. And of course, speaking of news, in a smaller niche, we have our Legend of the Traveling TARDIS folks.
That's right. The Doctor Who news and whatnots and what's going on.
That's it.
And, Christian over at Legend of the Traveling TARDIS and Melanie and the crew, they have really done a great job of taking advantage of the fact that we are all stuck at home and we all are communicating via the internet. So they've been doing a lot of Doctor Who celebrity interviews.
That's been wonderful.
Fantastic stuff.
It really has been.
And, when everybody's schedule opens up, that means everybody. That means all the celebrity schedules. And things like that. So
because they're all stuck at home too.
And they've got a lot of content over there at Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. So Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, which you can see on HWWS Web TV's YouTube channel every single Monday at 6 p.m.
That's exactly right.
If you don't want to wait that long, every Saturday morning you can get it on Krypton Radio. Right here on Krypton Radio, you can get the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS radio show. You can get the audio version.
Indeed, you can.
And they've been killing it. They've been doing a great job. So that's really what's going on with us, guys. We've been just keeping content flowing to you as much as we can.
Yes.
We look forward to getting back on the road, to getting back to the convention season. It looks like quite possibly we could be returning to the convention halls as early as July 11th? July 11th, I think it is.
Yeah, the 10th, 11th, whatever that weekend is. Yeah.
That will be Tampa Bay Comic-Con. It won't be a full-on show the way we're used to doing it because we still have to step out there with precautions and take as much health precautions as we possibly can. And of course, don't forget, guys, we have Cosplay Michael. We have got Cosplay Michael, and I'm not about putting Cosplay Michael in a room with 100,000 strangers.
Cosplay Michael will touch everything.
And everyone.
Everything. And everyone.
That's right.
Yes, and he's, just all boy. And he doesn't care what he touches or who has touched it before him, and he'll just touch himself.
Oh, yeah. So we need to make sure that, we're going to take all precautions that we can. But it looks like we may be able to start the convention fall up, if you will.
Exactly.
And then, of course, by Halloween, we'll have MegaCon Limited Edition. Which, for those of you who caught CyberCon, know CyberCon was really our way of celebrating the weekend when MegaCon got canceled, that we were still together and we were still doing a convention. We were just doing it online. So we've got a convention season booked and lined up. But in the meantime, we thought, hey, here, we'll take the radio show. We'll go live with it on our Facebook page and YouTube channel.
Because we can do that.
Yes, we can. And so welcome, guys. For those of you who aren't aware, Krypton Radio, where we're broadcasting this to, Krypton Radio is sci-fi for your Wi-Fi. It is all sci-fi all the time, whether it be music, which is playing a lot of sci-fi music, a lot of soundtrack music from sci-fi properties.
I love to hear all that.
All through the thing, or talk shows and series all over Krypton Radio that you can find talking about every niche topic you could find, and the great super sci-fi show after show discussions, whether it be Doctor Who or Star Trek or whatever you have.
And they do some fun audio recordings.
It is fantastic stuff. So check out Krypton Radio Sci-Fi for your Wi-Fi. That's where you will find this show. Hello to Billy Floyd. Hello, Mark B. Lee.
Hello, Miss Ashley. How are you?
Hot dog dinner soon. Oh, Mark B. Lee's having hot dogs for dinner.
That sounds pretty good, actually.
We'll be there.
We'll be there.
We can probably be there.
Hot dogs with you in a minute's notice.
Takes us about 45 minutes. We can probably be there.
That's true.
Krypton is deadly to me. Well, that's because of your superpower, Marks. That's what we know.
Right.
So that's right. Yeah, Jackie Sonnenberg about CyberCon. She said we did a thing. Yes, we did. We did a thing. It was really cool. We had a great time.
Jackie's actually done a thing with us for all of it.
Hello, Ashley Adams. Hello to our wonderful young lady, Ashley Adams. That is one of my my son's mom's daughters, who is just, I'm so grateful to have been a part of her life, her whole life, and all of her wonderful children.
Yes,
and our little grandbabies that are running around. That's right. All the grandbabies are fun. Mark Bealey, Sage was my first wife. Wait a minute. You were my what? Wait a minute. How'd that happen? What are you?
Surprise!
What are you starting a first wife club? You're just the only member?
I'm just the only member. Yes, it's a very exclusive club. Just saying.
Apparently very exclusive. So that's Sci-Fi for your Wi-Fi, Krypton Radio. That is where you can find the radio hour that we're recording. And I don't have a topic tonight. We did talk about it around the office, but you know what? There's so much happening in the world. First of all, and I'll invite any of our chatters that want to come in and join us on the air. Please just let me know. You can come on in.
Yeah, come on in.
And
have some fun.
Please come on in and have some fun with us if you want to talk about whatever's going on in
just
the day.
Message me and tell me
There's so much happening in the world. But you know what? Beyond science fiction, some of the topics that we can hop into tonight. One of them is we just here in the United States, and you know, I'm an old soldier, guys. So forgive me. I'm a super duper patriot. I am, you know, all about my country, and I got to tell you, it made me smile. Just not even a week ago. The United States launched 2 United States astronauts from Cape Canaveral, right here on the Space Coast,
right here,
into orbit, docked with the International Space Station. The entire mission. Not only was it the first time in 9 years that we've launched American astronauts from American soil, not only was it just great to have them back, but this is the first time ever in the history of the space program that American astronauts have launched aboard a U.S. company's civilian-made, a contracted civilian spacecraft.
Yes.
This is the first civilian spacecraft crewed by American astronauts.
That's true.
It's amazing. It is a mile marker. I hope everybody realizes how historic that really is. It was so much
fun to actually go out and see it.
Yeah, and
because we watched it here, and then we immediately ran outside.
I live on the Space Coast, so we're going to bring Robert in here in a minute.
Yes.
I live on the Space Coast, and one of the great things about living on the Space Coast is that I've been to Kennedy Space Center probably. I can't even count them. I love to go. I love to walk around the museum areas.
Yes.
I love to see the IMAX movies that they've got out there as they change them up with different missions and different ideas. I love to walk through the old spacecrafts and take the tour and walk the floor and watch them. You can see components from the ISS, you know, as they're laid out.
It's so cool.
Wonderful stuff. Always great stuff. And having done that so often, you do get to see some of the ships that we've traveled on through the years.
Yes.
And that means that when you look at the Mercury capsules and you look at those and you can sit inside and push buttons and click dials.
That booster rocket did not land in your backyard, Mark.
It landed in my back. Really? See, Mark's got a booster rocket. That's so cool.
Well, of course he does.
That we'll all be
Actually,
over.
It didn't land. You know, I know
wait.
it didn't land.
Billy
in
Floyd is in the chat.
Billy
Floyd has offered to sing from inside of Mark's new booster rocket.
He's gonna sing Rocket Man?
I don't know. Billy, are you going to send Rocket Man? See, there we go.
Oh yeah.
So
it's a thing now. We're doing it.
So yeah, we're excited here in Florida that we're back. We're back.
Excited.
And we're back.
I'm wicked excited.
And this is the first step on our way to the moon.
Make those windows rattle again.
We're going to talk about that a little bit. I do want to send out a huge shout to everybody out there across Facebook, across Twitter, across whatever social media platforms, who has been out there in the streets marching. Everyone who's been out there peacefully protesting.
Yes.
Everybody's been being heard. It's one of the things about being an American is that we have a voice. And those people who are out there right now.
And they're using that voice.
And they're using that voice to be heard. God bless you and keep doing what you're doing.
That's it.
Keep it peaceful and keep it relevant and keep it going. That is how you achieve things in this country. You gather together.
Yes.
You band together and your voices can be heard. So keep it up. Our prayers are with you.
Yep.
Because it matters. It does. Every day.
Truly does.
It really, really does. That we take a voice and have our own. So guys, that's me preaching and then pontificating on all the shows that we have going on.
That was lovely. Did you see
that?
We
do all of those things.
Big words.
So now let's just chat. Let's have a good time. Let's bring in let Robert Lupo, the Orlando Wizard himself, our dear friend of the Hangin With Web Show, and all of us. Robert, how are you, man? How you been?
Yes, doctor.
Doing well. All things considered, it's been kind of driving me crazy being isolated, but it's doing well. So, you know, you were talking about the space program, and
Yeah.
I drove to Kennedy Space Center to watch that launch. And my GPS said I was going to get there in ample time, and then I hit the traffic, and I was in traffic for an hour and a half. But one thing that you should know is right now, Kennedy Space Center actually has their tickets on sale. They're about $29 each instead of the normally $59.
hmm
And you have to make reservations. So if you go online, you can make reservations because they have limited capacity due to COVID-19. But you can go to Kennedy Space Center for $29. Season passes will be back on sale in August.
Well, I
So
want to remind everybody too, in that vein that Robert's talking about, if you have a season pass or an annual pass to Kennedy Space Center and you want to go out there and you want to start using it again, you must make a reservation. Even though you have a pass, they do need to count you before you go in the door because they have a limited capacity right now. But if you are an annual pass holder and you want to go over to the Space Center, you got to, get online and make a reservation. They'll show you whether they're at capacity or not in the reservation room. So go ahead and check that out. And man, it's fascinating. Robert, have you been over there a lot recently?
Not recently. We went up there to watch the launch.
Okay.
And then came back. And then I was talking to a friend of mine who went to Universal for pass holders. You had to make a reservation also. It opens Friday to the general public, but pass holders were allowed to go in. And he only stayed for about an hour. It was crowded. And the honest truth is he felt that Universal wasn't didn't quite have it put together. City Walk, I've been to City Walk to film before they opened up the parks, and I thought that was pretty good. It wasn't crowded, but it was like a 70-minute wait to get food inside Universal today.
Oh,
and
wow.
Then the lines for the rides were exceedingly long. Disney is opening up a couple of the parks around July 1st, and then Hollywood Studios, and I think it's Hollywood Studios, and I want to say either Epcot or Animal Kingdom opens up on July 15th. So one thing people have to understand is if you had a reservation, for anything, food, experiences, guest meetups, that's all been canceled for the rest of 2020.
Yeah. By the way, guys, what Robert's talking about is even if you're a pass holder, even if you've had prior arrangements made, everything that has been made has all been canceled. You have to make new arrangements when the parks reopen to resume life as normal, because they're going to have some capacity requirements early on, and they want to keep a good count.
Your arrangement or any reservations once they get closer to opening will be, I believe, 60 days instead of the normal 100 and some odd days.
Yeah.
So they're bringing it down, but there's certain areas that you have to be, like they're having problems with, like Epcot's a perfect example. When the COVID-19 forced everything to close, the people that were here from other countries were all sent back home. So now how do you do around the globe without the people from those locations?
Okay. Well, yeah, that's a good question. For those of you listening in on Krypton Radio, we've got Robert Lupo, the Orlando Wizard, with us.
Doctor.
That's right. Dr. Wizard.
Yes.
Dr. Wizard is with us in the house. Guys, we're just we're kind of catching up after this whole COVID quarantine, thing that we've been going through. We're looking forward to hitting the road really soon. And I know that Robert's looking forward to getting back into the parks and checking things out and filming some people as they get real excited about getting back into the Orlando theme park areas. And you've already been over to Universal, you said, right? You were over there checking out the lines and everything?
Well, I didn't go into Universal Studios specifically. My friend went, and I heard everything about it. But he didn't feel comfortable. And so he left after about an hour. He just felt that it was too soon for something like that, how they're organizing it. It's my understanding that Disney has spent millions of dollars on the virtual line queues. So that's going to go into effect, is what we're hearing. So when you go there, Like you actually have to arrange the time of what time you're coming into the park, and then all the rides, all that would be done through, from what I understand, virtual line queues.
Awesome. That's awesome. So we're actually looking forward to hearing more from the Orlando Wizard on Orlando as it reopens.
Yes.
Going on.
I think a lot of people are going to be cautious.
Yeah, I think so.
You know, we're all
really
excited that everything's opening up, but at the same time, you know, we still want to be safe.
Now, you know, that brings us, you know, one of the things that we do with Robert, and we also with Mark B. Lee, is we get a chance oftentimes to review movies. And but of course, that is the one place probably during a pandemic, one of the most dangerous places that we go socially in America is the movie theater. It's
That's
you know
true.
200 of your closest friends all gathered around you. So that's not happening.
And we share popcorn
so much.
and we share
However,
candy
you know,
and all that
we were talking about the fact that what we have been doing a lot of is we've been doing a lot of streaming. And
Yes.
so, you know what, one of the things I want to throw out to Lupo is during this time or whatever, what is your go-to streaming service right now? And what are you currently watching, man?
Oh my God. Well, real quick, theaters are going to be opening soon at 50% capacity within like the next week.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah,
so is there, well, on that topic, before we jump back over to streaming though, on that topic, with theaters opening up, even at limited capacity coming up, are there any movies that have kind of been, you know, pushed back that you are looking forward to getting in to see?
Yes.
What do you got?
I want to see the prequel to Kingsman.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be out right now, and it's been pushed back to August, and I really want to watch that because the Kingsman films have always been like, they're some of my favorite films ever. Absolutely love them. So this was supposed to be a prequel of how the Kingsman kind of started up, and so I really want to see that.
That's awesome. That is fantastic. Okay, so your go-to streaming service during this time of isolation, and what are you currently watching or binging or looking at?
The key word is binging. You know.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, I'm either studying cybersecurity stuff. I'm studying Python. I got classes twice a week, and doing 3D printing stuff. And then I'm binge watching like crazy. So my go-tos right now is Amazon Prime. So I have hundreds of movies on that. Plus, I watch the movies that I'm allowed to watch through Prime. My secondary is Netflix, of course. And then I go to like Hulu. But I don't really use Hulu a lot. I usually kind of stick to Netflix and Prime as my go-tos. And then to what I'm watching, so Netflix not too long ago, I'm a big fan of the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. I absolutely love that show. And they just came out with another episode, and it's a single episode, and it's pick your story. So at certain parts in the show, it'll say, should Kimmy say this or should Kimmy say that? And then it's a different story depending on the choices you make for Kimmy.
Oh, wow. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah. Choose your own adventure
interestingly
TV.
enough, for our sci-fi audience out here on Krypton Radio, interesting. We just started watching, it's on Amazon. What is it? Upload?
Yes.
Is that what I think it's called? Upload. Yes.
Yes, that's with Robbie Amell.
Robbie Amell. That's Stephen Amell cousin for those of you who don't know.
That's not his little brother.
No, it's his cousin.
Oh, shame on me.
It's Robbie Amell, and it is Upload. It is if the afterlife were a digital service that you could buy. If you could buy into an afterlife. So once your body was dying, they would take a chip out and they would upload your consciousness to a digital heaven, if you will. Interestingly enough,
or a single show.
What's that? It's a show. It is a show. Season 1, and now Amazon did this thing this past year and a half. They've been doing it. Originally, Amazon used to do what Netflix does, and that is they would do a season and they would drop a season of a show. Over the past, I think, between 12 and 16 months or so, Amazon has been doing this thing where they release the show in pieces. So either an episode at a time or maybe 2 or 3 at a time. and they haven't. There hasn't been. I haven't seen a rhyme or reason to it. Sometimes I've seen one episode at a time. Sometimes I've seen 3. So I think they're experimenting with different ways to distribute over time because they know we're binging. They also know that you take a whole 6 or 8 or 9 months to shoot a series. And then the average person like Robert or us or maybe Mark B. Lee out there online.
We start in the morning and we're done by the late evening.
You're done by 5 o'clock and you have to wait a year for the next one. So
and you're like, what? Now what am I going to watch?
So they've been experimenting with different models for, time release, as it were. But that being said, we caught the first 3 or 4 episodes already. And it's an interesting premise. It's a lot of fun. It's a different kind of sci-fi. It's in the vein of, again, on a whole different genre, not space related, but in a whole different category. This is in that vein of new things that are happening, comedy sci-fi.
Yeah.
So those of you who are out there, maybe in your space sci-fi, you've really liked the Orville. And so, you've liked that kind of Star Trek with comedy thing. And so for those of you who are really getting into that, there's a couple of them. There's been a couple of post-apocalyptic things that are kind of comedic. The whole sci-fi comedy thing is really taken off across multi-platforms. And Amazon, this is kind of a what you call sort of a sci-fi rom-com.
Yes.
That's where I would put this.
Yes.
That's
a good.
A little bit new. So I love it when they bend the genres a little bit around, especially in streaming, because so many of us would love to, we watch comedy, we watch sci-fi, we watch, whether it's, whatever it is, we like to watch a bunch of different things. So when you kind of mush them together, it's kind of cool.
It is cool.
It's kind of
cool.
The
other thing that we just recently started.
Now, Mark B. Lee just put an interesting piece of news fodder up there. Why did we do that? Where did he go?
I don't know.
Where did he go? Mark B. Lee just put an interesting piece of news fodder up there for us, and I'm wondering if there's anything out there on the news on this. And Brian Wensloff is following it too. I see that AMC may be getting ready to file Chapter 11.
Oh boy!
Yeah. Now that is, for those of you that don't know, that is yes, it's bankruptcy. It is bankruptcy where you reorganize, and oftentimes when a big company like AMC does Chapter 11, it sets up larger companies or larger conglomerates to come in and be a part of the rescue for a very large set of stock. Usually it's more of a takeover than a rescue, but it doesn't mean your company's going away or your movie theater's going away. It just means that they're reorganizing it, as opposed to, I think, what's Chapter 7, which is bye-bye, they're gone. Either way, it's part of the bankruptcy process, and you know what they lost a bunch of money.
Oh yeah.
And for all our sci-fi listeners out there in Krypton Radio, how many movies have you guys been planning on seeing over the course of the last what's been almost now 100 and it's 120 130 days?
Oh my gosh, I can't count the days.
I'm
lucky I know what day it is
that you haven't seen, and because of that means the movie theaters haven't sold tickets, and a lot of things haven't happened. And Brian Wensloff is in the house, by the way. We want to say hi to him. We want to say hi to Terry and Christian. Hi to Jen Hogan, who's here. Thank you guys for coming in and hanging out with us. Brian Wensloff, $5 billion in debt. That's about right. Think about it with the B.
Billion.
Because when you look at ticket sales today, movie prices today, you have single franchise, the big franchises that are doing $1 billion in a 3 to 6 month run in a theater. $1 billion with the B. Now,
that's a lot.
Add to that all of the movies that don't make $1 billion. You have the science fiction kind of side, ones that are making 500, 600, 700 million.
It's true. You're still in the million
over the course of a much longer run sometimes.
Yeah.
Then you have all of the romantic comedies and the feel good movies, and those are grossing. Those used to comfortably gross 50, 60 million. They're now comfortably grossing 150, 250 million. A lot of money. Okay,
it's a lot of money.
And when you shut a theater chain, multiple theaters, the chain down for all of these months, $5 billion. With a B, guys, $5 billion. That's a lot of money. That's pretty crazy. So that.
Well, I wonder what that does also for some of the things that are affiliated with movies, like Fandango, for instance.
Well,
right?
I think
Because you can buy your movie tickets online. I mean, I know they do
interestingly
other
enough, now
things,
Fandango did something very smart. Very smart. Not, and it was a while ago now. Fandango got into the sort of the purchase streaming business, like iTunes. You can buy a movie on Fandango, and they have a digital vault that you can put it in that's yours for your Fandango account.
Well, yeah, because I know you can accumulate points
And
on Fandango for
and
your movie
that's
tickets
right.
and then
you
purchase
can,
a digital
so
download.
you can buy a digital movie copy just like you can on iTunes or someplace else,
Mm-hmm.
and build a library in Fandango. And so they've actually been supplementing through streaming because you can buy them online. Some of the folks that have done really well, despite things, really bounced, have been things like HBO, because their HBO Now expanded. Okay, so for those of you that,
HBO Max.
those of you that recall, HBO had taken its streaming services, and they had HBO, which you had with your cable service, obviously. HBO Go, which you were allowed to access through your HBO account, if you had one through your cable service, and then HBO Now, which you had to purchase separately.
Yeah, so I mean, you didn't even have to have cable or anything. You could just have HBO if you wanted it.
That's And so, but now HBO has gone, where they've got a little bit of exclusive content for their streaming service.
They have.
Although, if you have HBO through your provider, they are giving you the new content.
Yes,
I do know that because we have HBO through our Hulu service, and we get all of the HBO now.
We get all the HBO Max stuff.
All the Max stuff.
Yep.
All of that stuff is there. So bring Robert back in. He's back.
And they're planning to do some really cool things. One of the things I am looking the most forward to with our HBO Max is season 2 of Doom Patrol.
That is cool.
I love Doom Patrol. I thought that was awesome.
I did notice something really peculiar, and we'll actually ask Robert to talk about this, because Robert and we have talked a lot about DC Universe when it came out, and the limited amount that they had to have an exclusive service, but they had a limited amount of exclusive content.
Yes.
So most of their content was available through other places, through Warner Brothers, other many channels, distribution channels. Warner Brothers is the distributor. Everything goes through them. But DC Universe only had a limited amount of exclusive content, and it wasn't all doing really well. Interestingly enough, HBO has a lot of Warner Brothers DC content.
Oh, quite a bit.
A lot of it.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see if that means that DC is going to scale back a little bit on their DC Universe, or and go all in with other services, because I think a lot of companies like DC are best left to other streaming services who've been distributing for years. HBO has been distributing for literally 45 years. They've been distributing cable content. Hello, Ryan.
Hi, Ryan.
How are you, sir?
Good to see you.
So, Robert, man, a lot of DC content on that HBO Max service now. What do you think, man? What does that mean for DC Universe?
Well, I think it's expanding out a lot more now. I mean, it's when you start getting major platforms like HBO and Showtime, in the streaming aspects of it, you're getting a lot more visibility. But you were getting a lot of visibility also with things like Netflix. Problem is HBO has a smaller platform. Camera. So Netflix is just tons and tons and tons of formats to go look at, shows, TV shows, different genres. HBO is more limited, and it does a faster rollover rate. So a movie may be on there for a couple of months, and then they shift into it. For Netflix, things like IT Crowd have been there for like forever and a day, and it doesn't look like it's going to go anywhere soon. So, but the audience for HBO and Showtime, in my opinion, are more focused because they pay a premium to have those streaming services. Netflix is like $15, so everybody.
Well, and I mean, remember, guys, when you look at things like being introduced by somebody like HBO, the HBO quote Cinemax company, that company has existed as a premium add-on to your cable account for 40 years.
Yep.
Nobody knows the model for premium content better than those services. The fact that they're adding streaming through the internet into their repertoire is it's smart. I think it's late. I'm surprised they haven't done it way earlier, because Netflix has been doing great, like Robert said, for a long time. So I'm surprised that like HBO, you know, the you guys remember, they now own a bunch of other, they now own Epix and other ones, but the company formerly known as, quote, the movie channel, but now it's Epix and it's a bunch of other things. I'm surprised they didn't get into streaming a lot earlier than they have, but now that they have, this is the interesting thing, is that the trend for the last couple of years has been for individual production companies to add a distribution arm and start streaming. That's what we saw Disney do, because Disney already had a distribution network, but Disney took their content and boiled it into Disney Plus, except for those things that are already under contract somewhere else.
Yes. And I love that they honored those.
Yeah, I do too. I really do.
You really can't pull away from that contract. You know, like Netflix still has Disney content because they have a contract for so many, you know, years with
so many years. Yeah, I think that Netflix has them up until I think 22 is when they have to talk.
So
yeah,
it says like there's a good chance that it's not going to get renewed. I've heard conflicting stories from my friends who are in the industry, that some are saying that Disney is going to allow them to renew it, so there's a widespread. And then I'm hearing from people who are at Disney proper saying no, when the contracts are up, they're maintaining their own IP specifically. But you know, Mark and I both did the Disney Plus immediately because we wanted to watch Mandalorian, and both of us were overcharged for it, because originally they said, well, if you pre-order, it's going to be $69, and then they charged all of us $79, and then expressed to me that it was a Florida tax, and which is why it was more. But yet you guys pay monthly, and it's exactly what they told you was going to be.
Well, I don't pay monthly anymore. When we updated our phone service, it was part of the great big sweeping. You know, the renewal packages were they were giving out Disney Plus and Apple TV and a bunch of other things.
Said,
and it was basically just check the boxes that apply to you, and we're going to give you a free service for 1 year. Except I think Apple Music, which we got free for life, which is okay. Yeah. I'll take it. But yeah, so but a lot of people did that. Now Disney is an animal all of itself. It exists in a different universe than most other business models. DC is not that. DC still distributes largely through Warner Brothers, which is a major film company without, you know, DC. That being said, these other and there's a lot of other smaller streaming services too that we've got that we've had for a long time before the streaming wars, and now that you're seeing companies like HBO get into the streaming business, they do premium. They do it better than anybody else is going to do it because they've been doing it longer.
Exactly.
And they have contracts for content that they've had, again, for 40 years with some of these distributors. So my question is, do these smaller services, and the DC universe is not that expensive. It's a nickel and dime service. However, it's all DC all the time. Now that I'm seeing that I'm going to get all my DC content through Warner Brothers at HBO, including original content like Doom Patrol, which is now going to be HBO produced.
I'm super excited for that.
That's pretty huge. And I think that takes some of these smaller nickel and dime services, and they're going to have to do business back with your other services.
Unless, of course, you are an extreme DC comic buff. Because that's the one thing I did like on the DC platform
is that you do have digital versions of some of their biggest comic books. You can actually read them on your Apple TV or your Amazon Fire Stick, etc.
And when you have a 100-inch screen, that's a way to read a
big comic book panel,
let me tell you.
That's
so
awesome.
I can see that would be, you know, that would be an advantage there if you wanted more than just that.
I think personally, if I'm going to read something like that, I'd do it on my tablet or do it on my computer, and I can get those through different websites. I think I don't know that that's going to be a saving grace. Don't get me wrong. I think DC Universe, they made a lot of money. They're going to make a lot of money for the next year or two. I think though they're going to end up folding in to other services though. Look, if Disney, again, the boss of them all, okay, if Disney says, let's go ahead and give Verizon customers a free year. And that's what is that, Mark? A $69 or Robert, that's a $69 service?
Well, it's supposed to be 69, but we actually got charged 79.
79. Okay, $79 a year service. I'm getting that for free from Verizon. Now, a $7 service. A $7 service.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah. I'm sorry, guys. And because there's too many of them, nickeling, diming you all over the place. And the nice thing is, again, because we pay the premium through our cable, which is Hulu, by the way, Hulu.com. We all of our content is streamed here. Even our local TV stations come through Hulu for us. So, I literally I'm getting HBO, which is now giving me Warner Brothers and DC content again. So I don't know. I think that might spell the end in the long term for a small streaming service like DC Universe. What do we got in the chat over here, guys? Let's take a look real quick. HBO Max is signed deals with other studios to carry content. Of course, they had their HBO, man. That's what HBO does. They've been doing it for 45 years. Okay, guys, since the mid 70s, HBO has been signing up. Dennis Cutter's in the house. Hey, Mad Scientist, good to see you. Want to talk to you up the road, buddy. Billy and I were talking. I think you might be good for those of you that don't know, here on Hangin With Web Show Radio Hour. We also have the HWWS Indie Music Radio Station. I'm looking to do some DJ content. So I'm going to be getting with a lot of my show hosts and a lot of our community here and asking you guys if you guys want to do some DJing.
Yeah. Got the chops?
Yeah.
Come on.
I can't see the chat. So for people that are in the chat, the reason why I'm not saying hello to you is I don't know who's there.
Aw. You're on your phone, right? You're doing this on your phone. Yeah. Jackie Sonnenberg is here, and she said hello, and she's been chatting in the chat room. That's awesome. Author Jackie Sonnenberg will ruin every fairy tale you've ever heard.
Well,
every nursery rhyme, she will turn it into your worst nightmare, and we love her for it because it's awesome. That's right. Becca Boy Production. Hello. Hope you all are keeping well. We are keeping very well. We have been safe. We have been healthy, and we are keeping very well. And we are glad to hear that our community is doing the same.
Garrett,
yes.
Well is well as in physically well, mentally well. We're all going insane.
Well, I think though the nice thing is that for most of our community, we were not that far away from insanity already.
What?
I mean, it wasn't a long drive.
I am perfectly sane.
I think books that'll make you go insane.
Yeah, I mean, I really think in our community, really, insanity was like a next door neighbor. So we're like going over for dinner. It wasn't like we were going far.
That's true.
Yeah.
First cousin. Yep.
That's it. Yes, indeed.
Can I say something nice about Jackie?
You may.
Absolutely.
Jackie is a spectacular author. The way she captures the stories. Hi, Jackie. How she captures the stories and then completely and utterly twists them. I would not be surprised that some of her books get changed into movies.
I wouldn't either. Not at all. Not at all. As a matter of fact, I know, guys, if you guys are out there and you're watching from Hollywood, Jackie's waiting for your call.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Get it. Somebody else does. I absolutely love her books.
Yeah. So, all right, guys, we still have a little bit of time.
We do have
we do. We have a little bit of time left, which is good. So we talked Disney. We talked Orlando reopening. Conventions coming up, obviously, movies and things like that. We talked the business of the film industry and the streaming industry.
I have a good question.
You have a good question?
Well, because all of us have been, when we talked about streaming, right?
Yes.
And we have binged almost everything there is to binge. And so in that vein, we have gone looking for things that we haven't seen yet, and there are very few and far between. And so I know that Rob's had to do the same thing.
Yeah.
So I want to know what, especially for
now,
you, Robert.
Guys, remember now we're Sci-Fi for the Wi-Fi. So
that's it, Sci-Fi for the Wi-Fi.
So what, Robert?
A sci-fi show that you found, like a hidden gem.
Is there a hidden
something
gem,
you didn't know about?
A show you didn't know about? I know. I have taken, just to give you an example, Rob, we here at the house, I really dig Australian sci-fi, man. There's been two or three shows coming off of Netflix. One of them was on Netflix. I think two of them we watched on Netflix. One was Glitch.
Glitch was good.
Glitch was really good. Australian sci-fi. Also, the other one, The Clever Man.
Yes, and then there was a third one. Wait, the third one. It was the one with the flower. Remember? And you ate the flower, and you were able to be young again for a little while.
Oh.
Yes. What was that called? That was really good.
We also did Tidelands.
Yes.
Tidelands
was good.
I tell you what, they're kicking it really good.
Yeah.
The Down Under, they are putting out some sci-fi.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand the languages, which means that I can't watch them necessarily and really truly get into them and enjoy them. But I do want to give a huge shout out to our Europeans, the Italians, the Germans, those theater groups. I've seen on Amazon and Netflix in particular.
And the French. Because I've seen a lot of French sci-fi.
Awesome sci-fi.
Yes.
That we can't watch yet because it's either badly dubbed or subtitled. I mean, you can watch it if you want to watch subtitles. But it's not in our language. But the stories and the concepts and the things I'm reading about are compelling. What were those hidden gems that you found in the sci-fi arena?
I do have not so much sci-fi because I've seen like everything in the sun, even the new stuff. But I did find a hidden gem movie on Netflix that I wasn't expecting anything out of, and it ended up being like one of my favorite movies now, and it was absolutely brilliant. It was called Mr. Right.
You and I talked about that a little bit online before. Yeah. In the chat over here, we've got Ryan. He's watching the 100 on Netflix. Yes.
Oh, awesome. Yes, because they have their last
season right now is out right now.
Exactly.
The 100. Italian horror is where it's at. Brian says. Yeah. Mecha Boy. Oh, from Ireland. It's very sad what happened to George Floyd. And what do you think about it?
Do you know the updates that came out today?
Yes.
Yeah, I did. That's what I was going to say. A couple of things. First of all, what happened to George Floyd was more than a travesty, and it was more than a tragedy. It was a crime. It was a crime on so many levels. Criminally, legally, it was a crime, and they're going to take care of that. I understand the most recent update I saw just before we went live, I think, was that the charge for the arrest, the actual officer that was there on top of him, has been increased to second-degree murder. And I did see they were getting ready to announce the charges for the other three, but I didn't see what they were.
The other three are being charged for accessory to murder in the second
accessory to murder. Okay, yes. So I am grateful to see that those charges are being levied. It is wrong. It is wrong every time that it happens. And you know what is happening in America today. For those of you who are watching from Ireland, etc. Don't shake your head, please, and don't say, "Oh, that's sad," or "That's this," or that, because you know what was happening in America today is what happens in America. When something is wrong, we fail a lot. We try to make it right. And that means if we have to take to the streets and yell and holler and scream, we will do it. This is not our first rodeo in America. Our history is bloody, with an attempt every single day to live up to the ideal that we put on paper. It's a hard thing to do. We have missed the mark many times, but the one thing that our country and the one thing that we aspire to as Americans is that we will never, ever stop trying. And that means we'll never stop marching. When something is wrong, we will take to the streets. We'll never stop shouting at the wind for things to be made right, because that's what we do.
That is exactly what we do. Sometimes you have to plant yourself like a tree and say, "You."
For those of you in the sci-fi arena who watch our show regularly, we'll just take a quote from young.
Well, it's from Peggy Carter.
Well, it's from Peggy Carter. That's right.
Yes.
We'll take a quote from Cap. Sometimes you have to plant yourself like a tree and say, "You move." And that's what Americans are doing today.
That's exactly
They're planting themselves like trees, and they're telling our government, from the city and county and state all the way up to the federal government, you move.
You move. This
Make
is not right.
this right.
That's exactly right.
We're not moving anymore.
The thing that's happening now is that charges have been levied. The voices have been heard.
Yes.
The issue that a lot of us personally are dealing with is with the vandalism and the looting, which isn't right.
No. And I will say, I want to compliment. There was a group. We just saw a group of protesters.
Yes.
It was wonderful. there were a group of protesters, and I please forgive me, I forgot the city. I saw so many cities around the country. I just saw a group of protesters make a chain in front of a store,
in front of a Target. They linked arm in arm and
they linked arm in arm, and they blocked a group of people that wanted to get in to loot it. Because they didn't want to be associated with another group of protesters. Actually, a man was breaking up the sidewalk. He was going to throw a brick. A group of protesters stopped him, picked him up, and carried him over to police and said, "You can have him. He's not one of us."
Exactly.
The picture of there was a line of protesters, and they were all kneeling in tribute to George, and the police officers put their shields down and knelt with them.
Yes, right. That is right. That is what it's all about, guys. The looting, the rioting, the crime, the crimes that are happening under the cover of a peaceful protest. Those need to stop. And you know what? When the protesters have been heard, when all of the Americans throughout this country have stood their ground and they've made a difference, and they go home and they can take pride in their actions and pride in the actions of their neighbors and their friends, you guys have nowhere to hide then. When we go home, you guys have nowhere to hide, and the police will do their job. They will find you, and you will pay for the crimes that you've committed under the blanket of a peaceful protest. And when that happens,
it's insult to George's life and death.
It is. It has been. But here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. We have criminals. We have criminals in this country, the same as there are criminals anywhere else. Those criminals look outside and they see 100,000 people marching through the streets of New York, and they say, "Hey, it's time for me to go out and do something." But you know what? The thing is that those 100,000 people in New York and those 20,000 in LA and another 20,000 in Minneapolis, those people are going to be heard, and they have been heard, and that process is moving forward. And when they go home, you're going to be left out there on the streets with all of your stolen jewelry and toasters, and you're going to get found, because you took advantage of something that wasn't yours. You tried to disgrace a memory of a man who died wrongfully by turning that into your opportunity to get a new microwave. You're going to get caught, and that's going to happen. Right now, to those peaceful protesters, we send our heartfelt, we are with you.
Yes, we are.
If I was a little younger in a little bigger city, I'd probably be out there with you. But right now, just to answer the question that was originally asked, how do I feel? I feel I'm proud of my fellow Americans for standing up, for saying, no, you move. The law must move. The legislatures in state to states must move. The legislature in D.C. must move. Everything all the way to our White House, you must move. The people are coming through. Step aside. That's what you must do. And justice is being served up.
Well, and you know what? I was going to say, go ahead, Lupo.
Yeah, that's one of the things that makes this country great, is because we are a country of the people, for the people. And when the government isn't working, we have the right to change the government. And that's not something you have in many other countries. That's what makes us great. Even if we're not 100% great currently, we can always get better, because it's our country, not the government's country.
And that's what it's all about. So yeah, from here in the United States, McAvoy, we're proud of our neighbors. We're proud of our citizenry. We are ashamed of those that work for our government that would behave badly. And I hope that our neighbors and our friends and our people that are out there are heard, and that those people who would behave badly are held to the fullest account of our laws. So with that, my prayers to all of them, and certainly to the family of George Floyd, to his son, to his family, his brothers, our heartfelt condolences on your loss, and know that we stand like all of your neighbors. We stand with you for justice. And that's really all I can say about that, guys. I have nothing more. So we are running down on time. So let's bounce around with a couple of final thoughts here. Sci-Fi for your Wi-Fi on Krypton Radio. You've been listening or watching here on Facebook to the Hangin' With Web Show Radio Hour with I'm GW Pomacher, by the way.
Oh, and I'm Sage Ia.
And behind over there with all the dials and buttons is Dina Marie. And over here, we've got the one and only Orlando Wizard himself.
Dr. Wizard.
One of the two men with the droid.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we've changed up the show a little bit.
Be a droid. He might actually be the droid. I'm not sure. He's very smart.
We show up a lot.
No, you've got a whole storyline to go with Two Men and a Droid now, which is really kind of cool.
Yeah, so there's multiple modifications that we'll be talking about soon, and we've started up another channel.
Nice.
That will enter somewhere around August. But what we're doing is we're converting Two Men and a Droid. We were going to do a whole story plot, but that's actually changing into a whole different channel. And the Two Men and a Droid are actually going to be a Back to Star Wars discussion channel where we will, instead of like a story, we're going to be talking about everything Star Wars again.
Nice.
Awesome. Very cool. So, guys, check it out. Please check out Two Men and a Droid on YouTube. You can find syndicated content from Two Men and a Droid over on HWWS Web TV, but you can also find it right on YouTube at Two Men and a Droid. And look for the newer content. We'll make sure to share that in our links and our descriptions everywhere else. Guys, we're wrapping up about an hour here. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, we got about 5 minutes. How's that? And so I just want to run through the chat. Can you scroll that real quick? Because it's been going by so fast. Thank you to everybody, to Brian, to Jen, to McAvoy Production, who's been in here, to Jackie, who's been in here, Ryan, who's been in here. I see Mark B. Lee has been in here.
Jen and Terry and Kyle.
Kyle, yes. That's right. I feel like, I don't remember. Do you guys remember the romper room when we were kids?
Romper room.
With the little mic, and you could see the little magic mirror, and they could, I see Bobby and Cindy and Robbie. And, and all of you that are out there in the chat room, thank you for hanging out with us tonight. Thank you so much to Krypton Radio for keeping the show going, even though we were a little less than stellar in our providing of the shows during the COVID season.
Yes.
So
we'll blame it on
but we're
Corona.
back, and Robert's going to be joining us pretty regularly now, I hope, to do this. We have missed talking to Robert about so many things. We'll be doing topic shows again, guys.
We're
going to actually do topic shows.
Talk about instead of just blah.
Yeah. But today's topic is we're back. Today's topic is we're back in many different ways. So many great things happening from entertainment companies that are merging and colliding and collapsing and giving you new products and services, creators who are being found, and then of course all of the things that are happening in the world today. We have a voice too, and we want it to be heard, and we wanted to all we want to do is say that we're with you guys. We're there in spirit. I'm old and broken and 1,200 miles away from all of you, but. Not 1,200. I guess we could go to Orlando. Rob, are anything happening in Orlando? Is it pretty quiet? By the way, I want to compliment our Orlando PD. Our Orlando PD was one of the first ones in the country to go outside, take a knee, and walk with our protesters.
Yep.
And God bless them over there in Orlando.
What's open right now is Gatorland just opened.
Gatorland did just open.
I saw our own old guy cosplay.
That's right, Brad Bradley.
He was out there because Cosplay Michael saw it and he goes, "Mom, where are all these gators at? Is this his backyard?" I was like, "No, that's not his backyard. That's Gatorland. It could be his backyard. You never know."
It could be.
Because we actually saw the gators when we were out at the lake the other day. Yeah.
So, guys, we're going to wrap it here, guys, for the show. And just say thank you all for tuning in. Remember, guys, stay right here on Krypton Radio if you want to, if you're listening on the radio, and you can hear great content, more shows, more music, more everything.
More sci-fi music.
You can find the Hangin With Web Show team all over social media. You can find us at Hangin With Web Show on Facebook, at Hangin With Show on Twitter, at Hangin With Web Show on Instagram. And, of course, just search YouTube for HWWS Web TV, and you'll find all kinds of content.
You can even find Hangin With Web Show on MySpace. It's still a thing.
Wait a minute. Is that even
a
thing?
It is a thing. It is because I post there.
I know. Microsoft bought MySpace, did they not?
Don't ask me about that.
Anyway, yeah.
Okay.
So, yes, there is a MySpace.
So look for us, find the content, watch the content,
guys,
listen to the content.
That's right. If you can go back in time to 1991, you can find us on MySpace. I don't know how long it was. No. 91 is way too far. No. That's not even the internet yet, really. That's barely AOL. That's right. You can find us in an AOL chat room.
All right.
Maybe. I don't know. It could be.
Log on.
So, guys, we are going to say goodbye and wrap it up here, and leave some holes in the show for, I don't know, some of our sponsors.
Okay.
We'll
We'll find them. Don't worry
That's
about
right. So, in the meantime, guys, remember, keep tuning in, keep logging on, and see who we're hanging with next.